Hi, welcome to Senior Seminar. I'm your host, Devin Young. This week's guest in studio is Garrett Ray Wilson. Garrett was born and raised in Lafayette, Indiana, is a double major in Spanish and rhetoric, and is a brother of Kappa Sigma. Garrett was born with cerebral palsy and has had to overcome many obstacles in his life. But with a fun, loving, caring attitude and a work ethic that is unmatched, he's been able to persevere and overcome. But don't take my word for it. Let's talk to the man himself.
So I was born 3 months early. I actually have a twin brother, and my mom never had an ultrasound, and so she only thought she had one child.
Right.
So she goes into labor, and she runs in the hospital, and my twin, Troy, came out. And she goes, "Doctor, something's wrong."
Right.
Because her second water broke. And so the doctor obviously didn't know that I was there, so he runs out of the room, which I'm pretty sure is not doctor protocol, but he runs out of the room. And so I'm sitting there, I guess you could say, just waiting to come out into the world a little early. And so I'm sitting there, and due to the lack of oxygen, because I was sitting there and the premature birth caused brain damage to my cerebellum, I believe, which is responsible for balance, walking, things like that. And so since then I've had to adjust, luckily my academics haven't been really affected, so I can continue along that path. I work out for my legs, make sure they stay strong, stretch, all the basic requirements. And so that's really taught me, in my opinion, to, the hard-working ethic that I need to do to overcome a lot of things that I've been dealt.
So tell us a little bit of the mentality that you had to build up growing up, with a visual disability, something that was easy for people to see as soon as you came into, their crosshairs. Just when, were you prepared for jokes or maybe hurtful things? What did you have to do to prepare yourself mentally, with a visual disability?
It was hard at first. I mean, when I dream and when I see myself, I picture myself as a regular guy, walking just like everybody else, the average guy on the street. But you notice the difference, when you see kids in this general store giving you a glance, because this kid doesn't look the same. They're not used to seeing different people. And so you can see that. Some people think, for instance, when I'm running and when I walk normally, they think I'm hurt. No, I'm fine. I don't really explain it because it takes forever, as you know. And so I really just had to kind of brush it over, have a laugh about it. If I fall, just smile, get back up. It happens all the time. I got bruises on my knees now from falling so much. And so, you stand up for yourself when you need to. If it goes a little too far, you make a serious face, so, back up. You went a little too far, but in general, you get used to it. I'm sure if anybody had a bad hand that they were dealt, the only way to do it is become accustomed.
Tell us what fraternity life has been like.
The first couple of weeks, I was asked to have the elevator on. They were a little careful, I think, with a couple of the activities they did. Didn't know really how to address it. Over time, grown respected, I believe. I'm nicknamed Grandpa for a variety of reasons, but one is wisdom. At least that's what I tell myself.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I've become vice president of my fraternity, secretary, scholarship chair. I'm also a pledge educator, guiding the pledges through their pledgeship right now. And just one of the guys, really. We laugh, we do homework together, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, one last question. What will you take away from your time here at Wabash? What has it taught you that, for these 4 years, will you take on for the rest of your life in your job, with your family, and even interacting with friends?
Whew, good question. One thing is how to convey your ideas clearly in small classroom environments like we have at Wabash. You're required to discuss whether you like it or not. Fortunately, I like to talk sometimes, so it wasn't too hard. So you learn how to convey your ideas. You learn how to write. Small class sizes obviously mean more papers that teachers can grade. More homework for us, but more improvement over the long run. And how to network with a small group of guys like Wabash and a good alumni network. You learn how to build professional contacts, learn how to keep them, learn how to build good friendships over your lifetime. And I'm very grateful for that and what Wabash has had to offer me.
Thank you. Well, thank you for your time, Garrett. As it stands today, there is no cure for cerebral palsy. But for Garrett, that's just fine, because he has gone to a college where fighting is encouraged. And by fighting, I mean for what you believe in. This fighting is not encouraged when you feel like it, or on leap year, but always. Thank you, and join us next week for Senior Seminar.